I'm timing it with the laundry that I have to do. So I found out from someone that I know that their lemon tree in Hawaii, so they have a lemon tree, they've been taking care of it, they've been nourishing it, was all the lemons on the lemon tree were taken overnight. And they let me know about it, and then they showed me a picture of someone having a lemonade stand, and I don't know um, if it was the same person or not, who stole the lemon, decided to make a lemonade stand. Who knows? But when they told me about the lemon theft, I said, hey, you got to put up some measures or a sign to dissuade people from stealing those lemons. From what I picked up was because all the lemons were taken in one fell swoop, one night, it had to be probably one person or a group of people. And they do have certain things, like they have floodlights that might deter them, or alternatively, one of those like motion sensors. It's a thing that they use to scare away deer. It's not non-lethal. It squirts them basically with water. So if anybody comes too close to something, they get squirted with a good dose of water. And yeah, maybe the thing would piss them off and they would take the thing out from the ground and uh, stomp on it or damage it, but it would send a message. So they told me, they said, oh, Erica, well, it's okay. Maybe they really needed the lemons. And I swear, if I was in Hawaii, I would have slapped them right on side of the head and be like, you idiot. So the reason being is this. You might think I'm being really territorial about the lemons that aren't even mine, but my belief is that if you have people who go out, they see someone's property, and then they take it, not just one, okay? They take the whole freaking tree, all the lemons, that tells me there's no respect. Because if someone had said, "Hey, you know what? I see your lemons. I was just wondering, can I have 4 lemons or something?" You let that slide. If someone takes a few lemons in the middle of the night, you notice it. Okay, no big deal. But when you take the whole tree, that's intentional, right there. That is intentional, and it got me to thinking about this. It got me to thinking about, there are times where people will push your boundaries, and if you do not put your foot down about it, they're going to continue doing it, or they're going to continue pushing your buttons because they know they can just walk all over you. There are people who think that they are very smart and very cunning, and if they think that they can fool you or deceive you, then it just becomes like a sport to them. And what I'm saying is this: I know there are people in my life, or my family's life, that will reach out and just hit up when they need money, or when yeah, basically just when they need money. And as I said many times before, it's not like my family is loaded or anything like that, and it's not like let's put it this way: if someone needs money, I don't have a problem with it. But if they only reach out when they need something, or if they do something and they feel like they don't have to, how can I say this? They don't have to ask about certain things. Like they take advantage of you, or let's say they do something like take your things and then sell it off to a pawn shop, which has actually happened to some of my family members. They had their home broken into long, long time ago, and they think it was an insider job. They think they know exactly who did it because there was no signs of a forced break-in. You cannot have a bleeding or crying heart or have sympathy for people who do direct actions towards you, because if those people really cared about you, right, if they truly respected you, they wouldn't take those actions, or they would ask first, and they would just be upfront about certain things. So um, I think that during this time, I don't. No, 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 no. Hold on. Wait a moment. I gotta double check something. I think of it this way. Like, especially during now, especially because you guys know how I'm all like doom and gloom sometimes. I really think that right now people are being taken advantage of, just like the lemon situation, the lemon tree situation. And I can't say if it's directly because they, I can't really say if it's directly because of stuff related to the situation or if it was because of a problem that was brewing for such a long time. I'm already hearing money problems coming from people that I know, and it's, how can I put it this way? I don't think it is anyone's responsibility to, or people shouldn't feel obligated to help out other people financially for if someone calls an issue. You see what I'm saying? So, what I'm saying is this, going back to what I shared in the past. Someone I know in my family asked for money. And this was something along the lines of, thousands of dollars. And it was very bad timing. And this person had never ever asked, never contacted for years. But when they wanted money, they decided to hit up family member. And when I heard wind of this, I was so pissed off because I thought, what kind of galls does this person have to come out of the blue, not just ask for a couple $100s, they were asking for thousands of dollars. Thousands of dollars, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm in a situation and I want you to pay out the whole thing. Not just not and this was okay, I'm just gonna leave it. This was like $20,000 of debt that they wanted my family member to pay off for them. So imagine if you don't really talk to a person and they contact you out of the blue and they want you to pay $20,000 of their debt because, yeah, just cause, it's like, hey, I need some help. Can you pay off my debt? Can you help me pay off my debt? Okay, what's your debt? $20,000. You see? So when I heard about it, I was pissed off because here's the thing. I believe that everybody is responsible for themselves. And if you needed help earlier, you would have asked for help earlier. You would have asked, if you were like, let's say, a couple $1,000s in debt, right? And you believed family was really strong, you would have said, oh, hey, I'm in a situation right now. Can you help me out? Because let's say I'm, 2K behind or something. When you come up to a family member you haven't spoken to for years, asking for $20,000, in my opinion, it's a total scumbag move. And I remember, hearing, when I was hearing about this, like there were comments alluding that I was heartless. Like how can you not want to help out a family member, Erica? Don't you why are you against this idea? And my thinking was this. If you have no intention of keeping track with someone for a number of years, but all you do is you feel comfortable asking for money, then that person asking for money shouldn't even get a cent. Or if you do, definitely money that, like I've said before in previous streams, money that you are comfortable giving out, and that's it. You will probably never, ever, ever, ever see that money again. 100%, 100%. Because just like a person comes out of the woodwork to ask you for $20,000, that same person can disappear back into the woods, back into the Christmas tree, for years and be like, oh yeah, they won't even acknowledge the debt, or better yet, they'll be like, they could pull out with one of my old friends did, which was something along the lines of, oh yeah, I know you want your money back, but I need the money more. And then it turns into a sense of entitlement, and that to me is an absolute scumbag move. I really, here's the thing, I understand when people fall into hard times, but I don't have very much sympathy when someone comes up to a person out of the woodwork and says, here's my debt that I'm asked for the last couple of years, I want you to pay for it all. If you can, I would really appreciate it if you would pay for it, dear just rubs me the wrong way. And I also believe this. Before you give out or before you help anyone out, you need to make sure that you are financially stable. It's like this. When you go onto an airplane and then you hear about people who you see the guy for the oxygen, they say before you put on a mask for your child, put your own face mask on. There's a reason behind it. You have to save yourself first before you can save anybody else, because if you are passed out, really no sense to you for you. There's no sense in you dying because you tried to put a face mask on your 3-year old and then the 3-year old loses their mom, right? So people need to be like that. I understand that some people have these bleeding hearts, they have such big hearts, but if people sense that they can manipulate you or walk all over you, I find in my experience that people will not hesitate doing that, and they will push the buttons and they will try to one up on you, and the worst thing is they'll do it with a smile. They'll do it with a smile, and then they'll think they're so smart and so witty. And of course they can walk over, shake the tree for some money, because the tree always provides money. But yeah. So to any, I pray that none of my viewers here are one of those, shake people down for money, and hit people up, because I don't think it's good to take money from someone else's financial stability. And some people would say, well, Erica, if the person they're asking for in money doesn't have debt, then shouldn't that person help the person that is in debt? No, no, absolutely not. People who aren't in debt, and I'm just generalizing here, right? A person who lives within their means or below their means tends to be more financially stable than people who splash money out here and there. And this is something that I said in my previous stream as well. I have zero intention of getting anything like the Apple car or the Tesla car. I talk about it, but would I ever really get that? Hell no. I would never ever spend $50,000 on a car. Even if I could get, like, let's say, leasing on it, or if I could pay for it in full. Unless I was like a multimillionaire, I would not spend $50,000 on a car. I wouldn't. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, I could spend $50,000 on a stock and have it grow up versus $50,000 on a car, and it's depreciating the moment that it gets off the lot, right? It's going to be considered a used car. It loses like 20-25% of the value. So, but I see people chasing these stupid symbols of what they perceive to be wealth, which is having the expensive car. I've known people throughout my life, several people, they buy brand new cars, get into these car payments, and they're like, "Oh, well, Erica, I have a brand new car." It's like, "So what?" So fucking what? So what if you have a car? Do you have debt? Can you really comfortably tell me that you own that car if you're struggling to make payments on that car down the line? So I'm a big fan of living below your means, and I find this. The people who are frugal, who watch what they spend, those people, they tend not to have financial issues. And if they do have financial issues, if they can figure a way out of it. I've been blessed to know many frugal people in my life. I've gotten a lot of inspiration from those frugal people. And when I'm talking about frugal people, I'm talking about people who, you know, who save jars and they don't buy Tupperware, and they don't buy too much. They use what they have, they reuse packaging, they don't buy gift bags, and that kind of stuff has rubbed off on me. So although you guys hear about, although I'm a how would I say it? Although you guys hear about me always like talking about stocks and investing, you guys never really hear about me making purchases. Really, you guys never do, because I don't really make any purchases. I want to use the money that I do have to make it grow bigger, so that way I don't have to worry about much. And I think it's backwards when we live in a culture where people work hard for their money and then they spend their money on just to signal to other people like they made it. Look how wealthy they are. They are so wealthy because they have a car that they can't afford. You get what I'm saying? And then if they default on their payment, then they go running over to family, and they want family to help them out. Or it's like they live beyond their means, and then when stuff starts toppling, it's when stuff starts toppling, then they fret out. I mean, it's like, what is the use of buying stuff that is beyond what you can comfortably afford, if it's going to cause you stress down the line? And I know I've known a bunch of people, you guys, like, they are happy when they get like their brand new car, their pretty shiny luxury car. And then when something happens, then they say, "Oh crap, I can't make payments on it," or "Oh crap, money is tight this month. Oh yeah, it's just more of a liability." So yeah, and I think it's dangerous too if you wrap your self-worth around an item, because like let's say you buy a Tesla and you get the Tesla and you're like, look how cool my Tesla is. You know those people, they take pictures of their car all the time, their BMW, their Mercedes, that kind of thing. Oh, look at me, I have a Mercedes. I am so rich. You are a peasant. Look at me, I have a Mercedes. I've known too many people like that. And I've even been told that. I've even been told people, they're like, oh, is this your first time you've ever been in a Mercedes? And I'm like, no, my grandma had a Mercedes. You. But yeah, so when people use that kind of thing and they try to like have the brands carry their confidence or their image, it really pisses me off. You guys know I have a MacBook. People might say, "Oh, Erica, look at you! You have a MacBook. This is a status symbol." No, I have an 8-year-old MacBook. I'm only gonna get a new MacBook next year because my computer is so freaking slow. It's very well documented how slow it is. 4 gigabytes of RAM. It freezes on camera a bunch. And yeah, it's like it's time for an upgrade. I don't make purchases based on it being a status symbol. I make purchases based on it being what I perceive to be a good value if it's going to last me a really long time. Now, a car is different from a computer because a car just drives you from one place to another. You see? Oh, look at this. Let me see this. Hold on one moment. Hold on, let me read this really quick. No, there's nothing. I had to actually fix the washer because one of the it was leaking, and then I had to replace the plumber's tape on it, and then I also had a spare one. So after I do the wash, I want to see if it was really that I had to replace the plumber's tape, or if I had to replace the whole pipe by itself, or if it was just the washer. You know what I'm talking about? Hold on. I'm gonna get distracted. I know this, but so it was leaking at the connector. So I wanted to see if it was actually the washer, this, or the plumber's tape. And then when I put a new one on, it didn't work in. And then after I put the new machine, and after I put the new hose, it still leaked a little. I put in new plumber's tape on there, and then it didn't leak. So I want to put on the old one and see, did I just have to replace the plumber's tape, or is it actually like the washer or the hose by itself? Like the connector over here, like it was leaking over here. But anyway, because I am getting distracted, yes, I'm doing my own little I'm doing my own little repair over here. Oh, hello there, Blackberry. Do you wanna show? Okay, so Blackberry stock went up today, mildly. I buy shoes once every 3 years. I don't. I only spend $30, maximum 30. You know what? I'm not against spending money on shoes. For me, I think what's important is trying to get the most value out of your shoes. So, for instance, right? You guys think like I'm super frugal and everything, but I do have a pair of Manolo Blahniks. Those $600 shoes. I got them pre-loved, pre-owned, for $60. They were barely worn, but then I got them resold, and then I paid $30 for the resoling. And those shoes, I kid you not, they're the most comfortable black heels I've ever worn in my life. It was worth the $30 resoling. I didn't need to resole it, but I wanted to make it last a little longer. Those heels are amazing. Ever since I bought those heels, I told myself like I do not need another pair of black heels in my lifetime because they're just great. It's so much lighter. Like a pair of high-end designer shoes is so much better than like say Aldo shoes or shoes from like TJ Maxx or something like that. Maybe it's because my ankles are a bit, kind of skinny or whatnot, but I don't like clanging around having expensive shoes. Clanging around those heavy shoes. So wearing an expensive shoe really works out for me because if I'm expected to stay in an extended period of time in a high heel, I want to be comfortable. You know, I don't want to feel like I'm holding bricks on my ankles. And sometimes when you buy those like cheap shoes, like Forever 21 stuff, they look nice, but the weight is killer. And if you guys don't believe me, go to, let's say, like a Nordstrom or Bloomingdale's, feel a pair of Manolos, and then feel how light that freaking shoe is. That shoe is like having like those Nike Air, you know, those really like EVA foam or something like that sneakers, like the really light ones. It's like that. So I gladly would go for a high end shoe, but provided it's pre owned. And I have no issue with pre owned shoes. No, I have a new hose, and the hose, I replaced it with a new hose, and it was still leaking. So I ended up with plumber's tape, and then it stopped leaking. So two hoses both leaked. I replaced the hose, put a new hose on there with the new washer. It still leaked, and the only one I stopped it was plumber's tape. The old one actually had plumber's tape on it too. Oh my goodness, I was cracking. But yeah. Anyway. So yeah, so I think it's important, you know, like for certain things, like you can pick and choose. If it's something that would really add value to your life, like let's say you're in heels all day, right? And wearing a heavy high heel is going to you know, cause your ankles or cause your leg to have more stress on it, then by all means buy the expensive heel. But that's because it has a reason behind it. You know, it's not like you're flashing around your high heel and it has a big Manolo on it. I don't, you know, I've worn those heels before, and then people ask me what kind of heels those are, and then I tell them, and they're like, oh my goodness, you know, and I'm like, yeah, but you know, I got them for $60. They're pre-owned. I resold them. I brought them to a shoe repair place, got the heel tips replaced. Yeah, so it's one of those pieces that I plan to take care of for a really long time. They're in Hawaii, by the way, but it's one of those pieces that I plan to take care of, and hopefully it lasts for a number of years. I've already had that shoe for about 4 years, and I've worn it several times, but not too much because usually I'm in flats. But if I do want to wear a high heel, that would be my go-to heel because it's light, it's classic, it's a black pointy, you know, a black pointy stiletto of sorts, and it just really elevates anything. You guys don't hear about me walking around the streets of New York in a heel. I'm always wearing sneakers or boots because sneakers, boots, flats. Most of the time, I'm wearing a sneaker. Yeah, if I'm walking a long distance, it's more realistic for me to wear a sneaker than a cute little shoe. No. I took out the old tape was wearing thin, so I replaced it with new tape. So that's what was going on. Oh, so yeah. What was I saying? I'm trying to think. Oh yeah. So I hope that when people make purchases, that you really think about not making purchases because of the brand name, but rather the functionality behind it. If it's something like a car, I really that this is just, you know, me being a person who has been in cars before. I've been in passengers in several, you know, high-end cars. It's like, yeah, it's a nice car, but if you're making payments to have that nice car experience and it's worth more than your yearly paycheck, I just don't see the point to it. I really just don't see the point to it. If someone can comfortably afford, let's say, a car and pay for it outright, I don't have any real issue with that, but I do have issue with it for the people who buy things and they kind of rub it in the face of other people. And I've known people like that. I've had the unfortunate time, the learning experience of dating a person who was like that, who did surround themselves with high end luxury stuff. When I'm talking about high end luxury stuff, I'm talking like the Mercedes, Tesla, Rolex watches, Louis Vuitton stuff. What else do we got? Yeah, like those expensive, very very expensive stuff. Like they really got off on it, and I, I had a really big learning experience out of my life because although they invested so much money in this kind of stuff, at the end of the day, they were worried about their finances because they had spent, they spent so much money on that stuff, and that stuff doesn't come cheap. If you have even if it seems like you have a pretty good income, that kind of stuff like whittles down. And for me, when I was dating them, I always, I told them about being like fiscally conservative. I didn't, I'm not a high end kind of person. I don't like, I do have some pieces, but it's like either pieces that I inherited, pieces that were given to me, or stuff that I got for a fraction of retail. So when I saw this person, right, and when I was dating this person, and I saw how much it's like they had all these like expensive things, but it didn't seem like it made them happy, and it didn't seem like they really had confidence in themselves. That's what I'm getting down to it. Like they bought these items because they wanted to project this image, and they wanted to feel superior to other people. You get what I'm saying? So they bought all this stuff because they would go out on the street with these indicators that they were superior to other people because other people didn't have these kind of like expensive shoes, or other people didn't have, a $20,000 watch kind of thing. And I look back at it and I think it's just so superficial and shallow. And there are people who go into debt because of these things. They chase these images, they chase these thoughts of how the wealthy are, and then they go broke because of it. They're trying, and at the end of the day, they look at their wallet and they're like, "Frick, all my money is gone because I spent it on a freaking watch, or I spent it on, a pair of like an expensive car, or a $500 pair of shoes, but they buy like, six pairs of it. You get, yeah. So it's just like, I just don't think it's it's sustainable. And there are people, if they dig themselves into this hole and they amass like a lot of credit card debt because of this kind of stupid decision making, stupid consumerism, then if they feel like they can shake the money tree for money to fund their lifestyle, they might actually do it. And that is one of the things that kind of bothers me. Just, yeah, so it's important that if you feel like anybody is taking advantage of you, or if anybody is like shaking you up for money so they can buy stupid especially, like, you got to put your foot down. I know that there are people out there who have hold on, hold on. I know there are some people whose parents fund their lifestyle. And what I'm saying about this is that I know a person whose family was really rich. They made so much money. And then I knew the son, because I knew the son, and the son told me that, like, I went to high school with this person, and the son told me that they had stolen over they stole tens of thousands of dollars from their parents, and the parents didn't even notice because the parents has that much money. And I was like, what the anyway. So for whatever reason, I think they might have came out to their parents. I'm not too sure. I think that was it, because they told me the parents didn't realize it. The parents decided to put their foot down, and then the parents escalated. Actually, I don't know the details about what went down with the parents, but I do know the parents got a TRO, a temporary restraining order, against that person. And from there, I don't know. I only spoke to this person once after I left high school, and they told me about this, and I was like, oh, okay, okay. But yeah, it's like things like that. Like I used to think like the parents were really strict, but I think the parents put their foot down because they saw that their child was going down a dark path, and maybe they wanted to protect themselves too. I don't know if the guy was prone to violence. I don't know that much of the backstory. I do know that they were arrested at least one time, but the parents put their foot down and they said, you know, we're not gonna enable this kind of stuff. We're gonna make sure that we get a TRO against our own kid, and of course, the kid doesn't have access to bank accounts, right? So if the kid wanted to spend more, if the kid wanted to steal money, they can't because they don't have access to bank accounts anymore. And the other thing too is, like, I just think like, man, there had to be something that really got messed up if your parents are multi-millionaires and they have so much money that you can withdraw tens of thousands of dollars. They don't even notice it, and then they put their foot down to their kid who if I remember correctly was an only child, right? So can you imagine putting you being rich, you have a kid who stole money from you, maybe they got involved with a bad crowd, but it got to a point where you you decide to get a TRO against your only child. That just kind of like, whoa, that's really pushing the limits. But I imagine that the parents had really good reason to do that, and it seemed like they had a lot of trust in their kid, because if they allowed the kid to have access to a bank account and then the kid withdrew $30,000, did I say it? I actually let it slip. Yeah, it was $30,000, and the parents didn't, the parents didn't notice it or something like that. It's like, wow, that's a lot of trust. Yeah, crazy. Oh, look at Emily. Maybe this is me, but I find that people are, okay, they just they're so. Yeah, so you gotta put your foot down when it comes to certain people. The parents, I imagine, put their foot down because they didn't want to get taken advantage of, and it really, I really think it was something kind of. What are you doing, Oreo? Oreo, what are you doing, my little predator? Huh? What are you doing? Did you see Oreo? That was his one shot at. Oh, come on here, Oreo. What are you doing, my little predator? Oreo was running. I think Oreo was chasing Blackbird. He was getting his cardio of the day in. Let's see how long this lasts. I know, it's amazing. Oreo, my little predator. He's like a little lion, except he sleeps way too much. Okay, he's walking away. He doesn't want to be on camera. Yeah. So just make sure, I don't want to sound too preachy here, but just make sure that you live within your means, or better yet, live below your means, because I don't know any person who really regretted living below their means. And when I mean living below your means, I'm not saying don't buy anything. You can definitely buy things. I recommend buying things pre-owned, or better yet, dumpster diving, or going and joining like free cycle groups, buy nothing groups. Those are really advantageous. But yeah, when you live beyond your means, and I just think like when people end up in financial trouble because, well, they spent all their stuff on stupid shit, and or they extended themselves far too much, I don't have too much sympathy for it, because I find that for people who live beyond their means, it doesn't surprise me at all when I hear about financial issues. And when I hear about the amount, sometimes it doesn't surprise me either, because I think, man, yeah, you really liked expensive. So it kind of, it makes sense. Like a person who is buying, let's say they want to they want to surround themselves with like Louis Vuitton, or going always shopping at, let's say, Saks Fifth Avenue or Nordstrom, those kind of places. That stuff is not cheap. So all this money eventually adds up, and when it adds up, and you have to pay the bill or the credit card bill, yeah, it's it doesn't seem so luxurious to see high credit card bills. And I know that from what I've been hearing from certain people, I've never had credit card debt. I always pay my cards in full. I've always lived below my means. And I remember when I was in Hawaii, my parents like always knew like I was shopping at thrift stores. And it actually, the one of the reasons why I started shopping at thrift stores was around the time after I had to, listen to this, I had to work at a fast food place for 2 days to help out my friend. And before that, right, because I think I was about 16 or 17 years old at that time. I never had a job before that. But I had to work out at a fast food place for about 2 days. And I remember how it was working there. And I remember how people treated me. And at the end of the day, I think, I think the minimum wage was around $8 or something. I got paid under the table, by the way. But I got, 8 times like 120 something dollars. And I thought about it. I was like, man, I worked 8 hours a day. I dealt with all this crap, and I only got $121. Like, that's not very much money, because before that, right, I used to go shopping with my friends at like a mall, and then my parents, they would give me some spending money like occasionally, like every month. And I didn't really think about how much work went into that spending money. So once I had to work for that stuff, I realized, like, frick, I better make this $121 freaking last. Um, I gotta make 128. Yeah, I gotta make the $128 last, because I never realized like how much work and stress was put into having a job. And this was just me working 2 days at a fast food restaurant, getting paid under the table. So it's just, yeah. So after that experience, it made me think about stretching dollars, and then I hit up thrift stores, and then yeah, and then I hit up consignment stores, and I found that instead of having to pay like full price for things, I could normally get things for a fraction of it, maybe like 90% off, 50% off, 70% off, and it would be like going into a sale. And the best thing about that is like you're also helping the environment as well. So this tree, for example, this tree, see this tree? I think this is an $80 tree from Target. It was picked up in 2016. I picked it up for free after Christmas. The person wanted to give it away. And then it also has lights, but I never plugged in. I just use it as decor. Those two things I found from dumpster diving. This little guy, I forgot where I got him from, but I know he was free. Oh, I think I got him from the sidewalk. And then those are my flowers that I grabbed. And then this is the sheepskin rug that I got for free from a little Buy Nothing group. And Oreo, of course, as you guys know, is also a sidewalk find. He was a stray cat, so good job, Oreo. Thank you for modeling the rug right now. So you can decorate things for very low cost or for free, but it just takes time. So it just takes time. So that kind of stuff, I don't mind it. I really don't. I just kind of think like it's a good way of being eco-friendly. And if someone looks at this, they'll be like, "Oh, well, Erica got a sheepskin rug for the cats, and maybe she spent like $100." I'm like, "No, I did not spend a penny for this rug. Neither did I spend a penny for that little guy, or the tree, or the two decorations there, or the flowers there, or these flowers as well." So yeah, if Oreo was in a dumpster, oh my goodness, he would be the best find. I told Lewis this. I said Oreo was the best sidewalk find ever. Like, imagine this little cat. He was literally on the sidewalk. He's tired. You saw that? You saw his little sprint that he did? He ran out of energy already. He's like, I'm ready to go to sleep. So he's a pre-loved cat. I don't know. You know what? It's up to um it is up to you, Emily, if you want to buy the iPhone XS. I don't know much about iPhones. I don't know if it's really up to you if you think that's a good deal. If you think that paying 100, let's say 102 dollars or so on a phone every year is worth it for you, then go right ahead. I know some people really like iPhones. I'm not, I don't, I've used an iPhone before. I don't really care for it too much. I'm like, I'm on team Android when it comes to that. So anybody who thinks that I am, high end on my phone, no, I have a phone with packing tape on the screen actually right now. I'm not kidding you. I could show you a picture. I have a phone with packing tape on the screen, and it's because I dropped it on the sidewalk, and then after I broke it, I was like, oh no, the glass is popping out. So I thought I'm just gonna use a one thing thick, I don't know, a strip of packing tape, and I put it on like the bottom 1/4 of the screen. So whenever I use the screen, like I can kind of tell, but I don't really notice it, and it doesn't bother me. I'm like, oh, I don't really care about the screen. I actually would like to have something that I don't mind paying more for an item, but as long as I feel like it will last me a long time, then that's worth it. Something like a car, I can't justify it. If I'm not driving too much using it, then I can't figure out why I would spend so much money on a car. Like $50,000 driving to work, and work only takes me 10 minutes to get there. Why would I need to spend $50,000 on that? Why can't I just buy a $3,000 dollar Corolla, Toyota Corolla, and do the same thing? What do you think of stream service versus physical DVD or Blu-ray? You know what? I'm a big fan of Netflix. And the reason why I'm such a big fan of Netflix is you don't have to store this shit. You pay $9 a month, and you don't have to go. If there's a lot of people who don't go to the movies anymore because of Netflix. You can just watch like old documentaries, or just wait for the movie to come out and then watch it there. And I think it's a really frugal thing to do. Netflix is definitely, it's smart to cancel your cable and then just use Netflix instead of spending, like, you got that stupid sports broadcasting fee for TV. I know that because the apartment that I live in Hawaii, they have cable TV, and I'm like, whenever I looked at the bill, I was like, what the is this? This cable sports TV thing? We never really watch sports. What? Why is this on here? It's like just all these stupid surcharges on there. So cutting the cable cord, getting Netflix is a really frugal thing to do. I think that's smarter. You don't have to store the Blu-ray, you don't have to store the physical copy of stuff. And from what I realized is like a lot of these things that you want to watch, if you really wanted to, I'm not recommending it. I'm just saying there is a lot of sites that you could probably watch a lot of these things on online if you really wanted to. Like there's these people who upload movies and they put them on the website illegally. You can watch it there. There's streaming sites, usually they're like based out of China. And then you got these like weird subtitles on there, like in foreign languages. But yeah, some people watch that. I don't see the point of buying DVDs anymore. I think Netflix is the way. But if you don't want to pay for Netflix, you can also just watch things on YouTube for free. They do have some free YouTube movies, and yeah, but I don't waste my time buying DVDs. From what I've also realized with my own consumerist habits is, let's say I buy a DVD, and the last DVD I bought was one of my favorite movies, which was Legally Blonde. You know, the one with Reese Witherspoon. I love that movie. But I bought that movie and then I watched it 2 times and then I forgot about it. So that was a good learning lesson for me because I realized like if I buy a DVD, I'm just gonna watch it 2 times and it's just gonna sit there collecting dust for the rest of its life. Why don't I just stream it online? Why don't I just use Netflix instead? I don't have to store thousands upon thousands of movies. And then you also have to think about the people who do buy these DVDs. People who buy DVDs, not too many people want to buy DVDs. So when I hear about people with these vast, like 800 DVD collections, and they have to move and they got to sell their DVDs, they're only getting a fraction of what they paid for if they paid for use, right? You buy these Blu-ray DVDs, I think they're like $20. You want to sell them, you're gonna be you might be able to get $5 or $7 there if you're lucky. So no sense buying the DVD. Okay, $11.99 for cable. Yeah, I know Netflix raised the price. If you need a car, it depending where you're going to, you can definitely rent one, or you can just do Uber or car share, or Uber or Lyft. For people who don't drive much, where I'm talking about, let's say people who just do like weekly shopping trip and then they just go to the shopping mall and then they go back home, and let's say they live like relatively close by. It's cheaper, in my opinion, to just do a taxi or do the bus or do an Uber than own your car because we have to factor in maintenance. You have to think about registration, insurance for the vehicle as well. So for me in Hawaii, I don't really see a point of me having a car because all I would be going to is basically grocery store, shopping mall. When I was working in Hawaii, I just walked to work. It was something like a 30-minute walk, but I didn't really mind. I was like, I don't have to park my car or anything like that. I don't have to look for parking. Some people I know, they pay like $75 to $100 a month for parking, and I was like, F that. I'm not paying $75 to $100 for parking. No, I live pretty close by, so I said I'm just gonna walk. Yeah, I'm not even gonna pay for a bus fare. That's like 250. I'm just gonna walk over to work. Oh gosh, cable just internet. Jim, why is your internet cheap? Can you negotiate with your provider? Can you tell them like, hey, you're having financial, say something like, hey, I'm having financial difficulties and I was wondering if there's any way you could work with me to get a cheaper rate. That's what I did. That's what I did for the place that I live in Hawaii. Like every year I have to call them like clockwork and I tell them something like, "Oh yeah, your rate is so expensive. Can you work with me because I'm thinking about just going off to your competitor cuz your regular rate is too freaking high." And then they're like, "Oh yeah, we can give you like this rate over here." And then I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then that just it kind of locks in the rate. And I think before we were paying like $159 and now we pay like $50 less or something like that. I don't know how much internet is. Maybe you have like super files or files. I don't know. There's like so many different internet. But Jim, you can definitely call them up and sell them like you can ask them to work with you and tell them that you're wondering if they can lower the rate for you because you would have to cancel because of financial difficulty. If you talk to retentions, I'm sure they could work with you. Like you don't have to sign off on it, but just say, your rate is too high. I was wondering if I can speak to someone in retentions because I'm just thinking about canceling. Oh, this is a rate. Their job is to try to retain you, so they have flexibility to work with you. And if we got one jackass telling you no, just call back the next day and then see if you get someone else who will work with you. Try it, Jim. I did that. If I could, I would negotiate a lot of things. But the only thing I can negotiate really is the only thing that I can negotiate is the TV bill for in Hawaii. Steal your neighbor's Wi-Fi. No, if it's anything like it, they could have crappy Wi-Fi. I don't know how strong the internet is, but Jim, definitely ask your internet provider. Tell them that you're planning to cancel. Tell them it's because the cost of the internet is too high, and see if they can work with you. Because they can probably easily knock off like 20% off. Hello. So you really have nothing to lose if you call them up. They have every reason to work with you on that rate. Oh yeah, how do you use the library computer after the situation? That's a good question. Because a lot of stores they don't allow you to use I shared with you guys like they don't allow you to use testers because if you use testers then every people are handling it and they don't want people handling stuff, so that's why some stores they just get rid of the testers. Books make a comeback now? Really? Books? I guess people are staying indoors or something. Oreo. I wish Oreo would face the camera instead of us seeing his giant backside. Just so you have an idea how wide this cat is. Like, look how wide Oreo's back is. Oreo, you make my hand look pretty small. He is a wide cat. Look at this cat. He is like 1, 2, 3. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 3.5, 4. Yeah, I don't know how the distance learning thing with the internet is going. I did hear that they are allowing people to they do allow people to borrow the computer, but I don't know if the parents are responsible for it. So get a tape measure. You want a tape measure? Okay. I gotta get going in a bit, but I will measure Oreo. Just for you guys. Oreo! Where did you go? Oreo! Oh, Oreo thought I was opening up the you know what. It starts with G and ends with Reemies. Okay, Oreo, come on. Let's do your measurements, Oreo. Come on. We gotta measure you. Okay, let's measure Oreo. I know, look at this cat. Okay, so from head to tail, Oreo, come on, stay up. Okay. Oreo is 16 inches long. His width is he's like what, 9 inches? Oreo. Oreo. Yeah, I think he's like 9 inches. 9 inches. Let's measure him around. You know, Oreo, they do this for show dogs. So I want to measure you so people know what your measurements are. Okay, there you go. So he is like 18 inches. Yeah, he's 18 inches long here. And his width is actually 10 inches. 10.5 inches. Yeah, 10.5 inches over here. And and let's see. Oreo, can I put this around your waist? Because I really want to measure your waist. You're kind of a wide cat. Okay? Can you sit up? Come on. Okay, Oreo. Just imagine you're in a dog show, okay? Okay, there we go. There we go. And his waist is, it looks like 16 inches. So, anyway, there was an attempt made, and in case you want to know Oreo's little measurements, that is his measurements. His neck His neck is pretty wide, by the way. Let's see. He's kind of floofy, so his neck is 10 inches. Yeah, he has a kind of floofy neck. Okay, all right. Come on. Let me measure your neck again. Yeah, so it's it's like 10 inches. So he has a 10-inch neck, and he's 18 inches long. Don't worry, Oreo. We'll get you a girlfriend before you know it. She's not going to be able to resist you, but head to tail. Okay, Oreo, come on. Head to tail, he is as long as 27 inches, it looks like. So someone must have Oreo's measurements down. And he's just giving me that face like, really? You measured me? He's kind of a wide kitty. So I think he's kind of wide. So here to here, I think I said 18. And then here to here is like 27 or so. So you have a good idea about how big Oreo cat is. He is quite floofy. He does like sleeping a lot. He is giving me that face. He's like, I've been measured, and I really should wake him. Oh, he's gonna go back to sleep. This cat. Yeah, I think he's tired. He exerted too much energy getting his measurements taken. Oh, Oreo. So, anyway, I'm gonna get going. I'm done with the wash, so I will talk to you guys later. I just wanted to make that short little video. If you know anybody stealing lemons from your lemon tree, put your foot down. If you find the culprit, give them a piece of your mind. Put a sign on your tree saying something like, if they steal your lemons, it's bad bachi, I think it's BATCHI, or put some Hawaiian curse on them. And yeah, nobody would want to steal your lemons again or attack them with a broom or or spray them with some water or something like that. I swear, if I had a fruit tree and someone stole the fruit from my fruit tree, I would be very mad. I would be very mad because it takes a lot of care, takes a lot of time and energy to nurture a tree, fertilize a tree, water a tree, and then some jackass just comes in there. They're like, "Oh, look, it's free fruits. I'm gonna take all the fruits." I cannot feel sorry for a person like that. I just think they're a total asshole. Get Oreo to guard the tree. He's gonna be sleeping, and then they're gonna steal him too. So, and Oreo's last words, if he got catnapped, would be, that's it. He wouldn't put much of a fight up. Like, if you look at this cat, does he look like he would put much of a fight up? He would not. Can I recommend you a phone for under $400? You know what? I don't know anything about phones, so I really can't recommend you any phones. Chat, do you guys have any phones recommendations for under $400 that you could give? I don't know anything about phones. I just say if a phone works, go for it. Like whatever phone you like, yeah, just go for it. But I don't know. I don't know specific price points for phones. Come on, Oreo. When? Mm-hmm. I've catnapped this cat. Oreo, what is that stinky breath? Gosh. Yeah, you really need some greenies, Oreo cat. Getting stinky. So, in case you guys never saw Oreo's svelte civique, it looks like this. I told Lewis, I said, when I think about Oreo, I think of him like the Goodyear blimp. I shouldn't say it that way, but he looks like a stuffed sausage from certain angles, and yeah, it's like Oreo. He needs to have a little bit more muscle definition, but we're working on it. You know what a good thing about a $30 phone is? Like nobody would steal it. No, if you have like one of those flip phones, like kind of like the flip phones, like the razors, nobody would steal that phone. They'd be like, "Oh, someone forgot their old junky looking phone over here." They'll turn it into a store and then you'll get your phone back. versus now, if you have like a newer phone, especially if you had an iPhone, like everybody would take that phone, right? They would take that phone and then they'd be like, "Ooh, look at this! Ooh, it's the latest iPhone. Ooh, I can resell it or resell it for a part." So, my phone, I think that me having my packing tape on it, if any thief saw it, they'd be like, "Oh, I don't want no phone with some freaking packing tape on it." And I'd be like, "Hey, don't heat the packing tape. It's anti-theft." So, I don't want to have. I don't really care about having a phone that's like brand spanking new. I have zero problems with pre-owned, pre-loved phones. I think as long as they work, that's great. My phone is actually pre-owned, I believe. Um, I forgot what kind of phone this is, but I want to say it's a SA Plus. I know I should definitely know what my phone is, but Jim Hook sent it over to me, and you guys might remember like I had a piece of crap phone before, so he sent me his old phone, and that's what I'm using right now. And I feel terrible that I dropped the phone on the I had the phone. I did a stream on this. The phone is inside of a OtterBox case, but because it has that edge screen, when it landed in the front, the screen cracked, and I was like, "What? What? How could it crack? I have an OtterBox for it. I thought this was supposed to be a premium product to protect this phone." But yeah, unfortunately, it cracked in two places, even with the case on, and yeah. So I ended up putting packing tape on it, and I was like, "Yep, I will just have my phone as it is with packing tape." It doesn't affect the usage at all. I barely even notice the packing tape. Maybe it's because my eyes got so focused on it. So if someone sees my phone, they'll be like, "Oh man, you should bring it to a repair shop to fix it." I'm like, "Haha, funny, funny. Bring it to a repair shop." I know someone's probably thinking that, like, "Man, look at that chick with the packing tape on her phone. Yeah, she should get it fixed at some repair shop." No, no, Lewis fixed, by the way, my phone. No, my phone still has a crack on it. It still has the packing tape on it. I never got it fixed. I never got it fixed. And yeah, I just kind of thought to myself, so yeah, I don't have a problem with using the packing tape. But if this was like an iPhone or something and it broke, oh my goodness, I would be crushed. I'd be like, "Oh, it's such a high value phone." But thankfully, I don't have any desire or any big thing about using an iPhone. iPhones are nice, don't get me wrong, but yeah, I'm not. I take that back. I actually should be more focused on using a phone since I do stream a lot, but I don't know. I'm just not that big on having an iPhone or um who knows? But maybe my thoughts will change after I get my new computer and then I can do video editing and I can go out to places, stream food or something like that and tell you guys like, "Ah, this roast pork is so good." That kind of thing. I'm really looking forward to it. I actually want to do video editing on my new MacBook when I do get it, and then release some nice videos to you guys, and I don't really have to think too much about my computer freezing. Hopefully that new computer doesn't freeze. It better not freeze and it better last a really long time because if it doesn't last, that wouldn't be good. And then I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I'd be making a lot of like I don't know if I'd be making a script for a video. I probably wouldn't. I probably want to do a lot more. I don't know. It depends. Like for certain things, I should make a script and I should do takes and like those people who do YouTube and they're like, "Oh yeah, this is exactly what you should do," and all the editing stuff. For something like making a face serum, then I can see video editing being really useful because it gets really straight to the point. But for streams like this, I don't mind doing a live at all. You know who else doesn't mind doing a live? Blackberry. Look at that cat. So she never sleeps on a cat bed. She always likes being in an elevated surface. So I think that's the reason why I have not seen her on the sheepskin rug because she likes to sleep in areas where she can kind of keep an eye on Oreo. So Oreo can't like pounce on her or something like that. Talking about Oreo, look at that predator. Look at that predator there. Oh, and he stopped. The predator has gotten tired. Oh yeah, that was supposed to be a longer walk. What happened? Yeah, so you can see the great energy levels of Oreo Cat over here. not very high energy. He was filmed running earlier, and afterwards he just likes lying down, and he's probably going to go to sleep, taking it easy today cuz he overexerted himself doing that little run which you guys saw on camera. And that is the life of this cat. Eat, run a little, sleep, poop, repeat, day after day. Oh, and look at this. So she sees Oreo over there. Look, she moved. She moved. She was like, Oreo's over there, so I'm gonna move a little farther away from him. Oh, look at this. Oreo. Oreo, don't worry, we're gonna make a Tinder account for you so you can find a nice female cat who shows interest in you, who's interested in your measurements. I think I would write something like um 10 years old, his weight, I think he's like 11.5 pounds. His height, whatever I measure. I don't even know if I measured his height, but now I can't measure his height because he's lying down. His dimensions, probably more to love, and say something along the lines of, "Hi, I'm a really affectionate cat, and all I like to do all day is sleep and cuddle. And if you would like to be my partner, you could cuddle with me too. I promise you won't have to overexert yourself. We can just sleep and lounge on a sheepskin rug all day." Yeah, something like that. I'll even share my greenies with you. P.S. You're probably faster than me, so you can eat the greenies before me. And that I think that would be Oriel's Tinder account, something like that. Favorite things to do: eat, sleep. Not so favorite things to do. Um, Oreo, what is that? I thought he was gonna cough up a hairball. Not so much favorite things to do. Getting. Well, I can't say it on a Tinder account. Getting getting the Glandex butt wipes out or anything like that. Did I get rid of the no-see-ums? Not completely. I still see one or two a day, but yeah, it's definitely dwindling. But I don't know if they're definitely a lot less before. So I think maybe I'm getting the numbers down. I'm trying to make sure that I don't know where these two are coming from, but I killed one yesterday. No, I killed two yesterday. And I saw one today, and that was it. But it's an ongoing battle because, as I shared with you guys, they are outside as well. They are outside of this apartment. When we were pulling out the AC, we opened up the window and there was a no-see-um outside resting on the air conditioner. So no-see-ums are outside of this apartment. They're inside of the apartment. There's something that was freaking in the drains. It's like this apartment is just, yeah. Even on the ground floor, when we're coming home at night, we see no-see-ums on the outside of the building, resting on the glass on street level, trying to get in. Oh, there you go. I am an Oreo cat, local celeb. I love to snuggle. I have my own place as in a fur rug big enough for the both of us. Oh, I love that. Oh, that is so nice. Well, it's not really his rug. Clinton sleeps on here too. So, but I have not had all three cats sleep on this rug. I was hoping that I could get all three cats. Barry's not going to sleep on here, so best I could do is Oreo and Clinton. And Oreo and Clinton were sleeping next to each other yesterday. They were very close, sleeping next to each other, and I just thought to myself, like, man, this is like bros before hoes. Like, you had Clinton and Oreo sleeping next to each other, and Barry was like off somewhere else. It's like, man, yeah, Barry doesn't want Clinton, and she doesn't want Oreo. So the two rejected male cats. That's proof that even if you are lovable and snuggly like Oreo, or you are buff and athletic and dominant like Clinton, you still might not win over Barry. Yeah, so the cuddly cat can't win Barry over, the athletic cat can't win Barry over. She just doesn't have interest in both of the two male cats. It kind of sucks for both of them, because you would think one of them would get lucky with Blackberry, but not really. She just kind of friend zones both of them. She has like zero interest, romantic interest in both of these cats. That hurts. That must hurt for Clinton because he's known her since she was a kitten, and she just hasn't been attracted to him in that way. But I can't blame him. Maybe she just doesn't like jerks, and maybe she just doesn't like Oreo because he's kind of stinky sometimes. Like he has stinky breath. So, yeah, it's just something. But maybe one day we'll find you a girlfriend, Oreo, and then a girl cat would be interested in you, and she better be fixed. Actually, you're fixed, so yeah, but y'all better be fixed. Anyway, so I will talk to you guys later. You guys take care. Just wanted to make that little stream, and again, watch out for yourself. If you guys want to give out money to someone, you can give it out to people, but make sure you put your foot down. Make it known that if you do give money to people, that it's not going to be a reoccurring thing, because I find that sometimes, and this is just from what I hear from people, sometimes if people put their foot down, or people get into a routine of always getting like a handout, shall I say, then they get so used to taking money from other people that they feel offended and they get mad when people stop giving them money. You know what I'm saying? Like some people, you hear about people who fund, let's say, addictions, or they're a compulsive shopper, and then they end up racking around credit card debt. And then if their credit cards run out, then sometimes they use their spouse's credit card. Sometimes they ask money from other people so that way they can get their high. So it's very important to put your foot down about your finances, because it's easy. If someone is not financially stable, I don't, and if they are just like constantly taking from you financially, in my opinion, they will not care if they financially destroy you, because if they're not financially unstable, they don't really care about other person being financially stable. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, always watch out for yourself. Put your foot down. Don't don't be like a money tree, right? Don't be like this Christmas tree and then shake it and then people, have it release money out there. During this time, it's very, very important that we watch out for other people, but don't give to the point where it's adding to your financial insecurity. You see what I'm saying? Like if you already have a low budget and someone asks you for money and they want you to give them like thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars or $20,000, for example, like tell them to like kick rocks. Okay, don't tell them to kick rocks, but just politely tell them like you're not going to give them any money, because if you give them any money, and I've said this before and I'll say that again, I'll drill into your heads. If you give them any money, the moment you ask for that money back, you can become the enemy, because I've seen this happen to people. And people who receive the money can say, why is this person going to be asking for their money back? Don't they know that I need the money? And then it's easy for a person who has your money to refuse to give you your money back, because they had no problem spending their own money. So why would they put the pressure on themselves to pay you back? Now there are some people who are very good at giving back money, but then there are other people who are not. So just don't expect to see the money. Just have like worst case scenario, you give them, let's say, $50 if they ask them for 50, if they ask you for $50, just assume they're not going to ever give you that back to you. And if you push for it and they don't give it to you, just know, that's the risk that you took when you gave them money. What about giving food? I have no problem with giving food. I used to give food to people in New York, in Manhattan. You guys know that. But I stopped doing that for several reasons. Because when I was doing that, you had people who didn't want food. They would want money. So they would say, "I don't want food. I want money." And it's like, "Well, I don't have money. I have food." And yeah, so I stopped doing that. And then also there's a lot of food you can grab in Manhattan if you really wanted to. You can go to various bakeries, you can go to like sandwich places, and you find like prepackaged sandwiches. It's grocery stores, that kind of stuff. So if you are homeless, it's not hard to dumpster dive in New York. You might face competition for sure, but it's not like there's a food shortage in New York. I haven't really done that kind of thing here in Manhattan anymore. Yeah, I shared with you guys, like it gets competitive over food, bakery stuff. So I'm like, frick, I don't want to. I don't want to get into a possible altercation over freaking pastries. Like, it's not worth it, okay? Like, I am not going to get into this whole, like, everybody's fighting over pastries. And it's like, my whole thing is like, well, I got food distribution event tomorrow, so I want to bring pastries over there. But then you got 5 people who also want pastries. Yeah, you know what? Never mind. You guys can all take it. I'll just go somewhere else. Yeah, so pick and choose sort of thing. But people technically they don't really want food. I've offered food to people. Like, I'll also share this. I went on the subway once, several times, and there's always been this one man who asks for food. He'll ask for money for food. He'll be like, can I have food? I'm hungry. Can I have food? I'm hungry. Can I have money? I'm hungry. Something like that. So I've given him money before, and he takes it up, and then immediately afterwards, without skipping a beat, he'll ask the person right next to me for money for food, and it's like, oh. So that's all he does. He just asks people for money for food. I've also seen him get offered food. He was asking for food, so this one woman, she gave him food, and he went like this to her, like he didn't want her food, even though she was offering it to him. So another person, right next to this person who offered food, offered a bottle of water, and he took it. But when offered food, he refused the food. He just wanted money, or bottled water. That's it. And I imagine you need bottled water because if you're talking and you're going on the subway, it's always useful to have bottled water. That kind of thing. It's not odd. It's just that people ask for money on the train or on the subway. So, yeah, they can have money. I don't think they really want food. And yeah, I've seen people who are regulars in front of these places ask for food, and then I've faced it myself. I shared it with you guys. This is one person in front of Two Bros Pizza. He asked me to buy him two slices of pizza and a drink. I think it was $3, and I said sure. And we're right in front of the Two Bros, and then he asked me for the money. He said, ma'am, I would prefer to buy it for myself. And I said, oh, well, I don't mind paying for it. So you can go into Two Bros. I'll go with you. And then you just order it, and then I'll pay for it. Like, I don't have to touch the pizza or anything. You can touch it. Because that's what I thought. I thought maybe he was worried that I was going to poison him or something. But it was very clear to me that he did not want to even go inside to order the pizza. He just wanted cash from me. And I refused to do that because I was like, I'm not going to give cash to a person when if a person asks me for food, I will give them food if I have food on me or if I'm feeling like I want to pay for food. But I do not feel comfortable giving straight cash, because if you give people straight cash, you're just enabling them to just, continue to keep asking for cash. You see what I'm getting? Like, and plus, what is my dollar really going to be doing? Like, you could say, oh, Erica, well, you could donate to him and maybe you could use them. Like, well, what can you really do with $1? Tell me. You can't really do much. You need to actually get resources. If you want to get out of homelessness, you need to get resources like housing. You need to find a way. And these people that I'm talking about specifically, it's like I see them day in, day out in front of like Two Bros Pizza, and on the subway, and they just methodically keep asking people for money and food. I see it less though. I do notice I see it less, and it could just be because it's getting colder. So, yeah. Yeah, it's a really tough situation. It is a really tough situation, and part of the problem is like prices of housing in New York is so expensive, and then due to the situation, right? You got less tourists on the streets, less people holding cash. Um, there's more of a preference about credit cards. People spending money with credit cards, because credit cards you don't have to handle cash, so there's less contact with money and stuff. Less germs, shall I say? Yeah, yeah. So anyway, I will talk to you guys later. I will see you, and you guys take care.